Hello, everyone. Thank you for sacrificing your lunch hour with me. And today we'll talk about Tableau security. I'm working at University of Michigan College of Literature, Science, and Arts. And first, let's look at Tableau use at the University of Michigan. is a Tableau big shot. We have one production server and one development server, 259 desktop license users, and 170 of them published to the server. And at LSA, we have 11 desktop license, and 9 of them published to the server. We have 19 school and college, and we are all gradually converting report to Tableau. And has its own Tableau user group on Google+. And we do information exchange and job posting on the Google+. Next. Oops. And this chart shows the Tableau usage. This is a monthly view of the Tableau report. So you see it's gradually growing, and it's growing exponentially. There's an average of 57,000 monthly view in the first half of fiscal year 2018. And the bottom part is the cumulative visit of the Tableau site. Why Tableau security is important? Because we are IR professional, and keeping the data report security is an important part of our integrity, part of our professionalism. And IR professional often play as a data steward. And in the following UN data governance statement, we can see that information security also applies to Tableau data visualization. It is the publisher's responsibility to determine the scope of visibility to the data visualization. So it's important to us, right? And let's have a brief view of the Tableau security model. There are 5 major components. First is the Tableau web server login. And user can log into the Tableau server through the Tableau web server. And at we have the shipless doing a single sign-on. So user can log into the shipless and can kind of log into the other server automatically. And the shipless connecting Tableau server to the directive server. The directive server, Active Directory server contains users' information there. So the Tableau server knows who is a valid user. And for some units, college or school, they have special business requirement. They want to do their own authentication and authorization on their website. They can do that, and they can using the trusted authentication to connect to the Tableau. And all the communication is facilitated by using the SAML, Security Assertion Markup Language, to exchange users' authentication and authorization data. And let's look at Tableau's basic report security. And it's central on the users and server role. And one must be a Tableau user to see any reports. And we are talking about the regular Tableau server, not the public Tableau server. The public Tableau is a different animal. For the server role, there are site administrator who control the sites, and project leader who control the project, and projects is like a folder in a Tableau server. For most of us, we are the developer. We publish the Tableau workbook and dashboard. Then after we publish the workbook and dashboard, we can assign our user to become an editor who can edit and save the visualization, the Tableau report under a new name, or we can make them become an interactor who can interact with the Tableau report, can do the filtering, and can do web edit, but cannot save the reports. Or we can give the user to become a viewer only, and viewer can do read only, no interaction. So if you ever publish the Tableau report, you will see this Tableau permission dialog box. There are 14 permission options here. The first 5 is when you select a user to be a viewer, the user will have the first 5 permission. So they can download image, download summary data, view comment, and comment. But for them to interact with the Tableau, you need to give them the filter option, or give them the interactor privilege. And interactor privilege can do download the full data set, share customization, and do the web edit, but cannot save, as I say. So in order to save the Tableau on a new name, you need to give them the editor privilege. And you can see from this Tableau permission setting, only the filter can let you kind of control the scope of visibility of the report. But if you deny the filter permission to a user, they cannot interact with your visualization, and it's a user unfriendly design. So I won't recommend. And as we see, Tableau's basic security is not enough. It cannot help us to create different scope of visibility for our user. In order to create different scope of visibility, we need user-based filtering that filters data per user login, so that John can see John's data only, and Mary can see Mary's data only, right? That's what we want to achieve. And we also need a row-level security so that we control the data down to the table row. So our problem is, what are the existing user-based filtering and row-level security in Tableau? How to make them easy for our Tableau development, and are there alternatives available for us to use? And our goal is to design one single report with various scopes of visibility for our different kind of users, different kind of group. The second problem we face is a nightmare problem, a nightmare scenario. At LSA, we have a reporting system has 8 report category, and each have 5 access level. Each user is granted with the category and access level for their job. The access control table is stored differently. It's not in Active Directory and not in Tableau server. So using Tableau user group to control the user access, we need to create 40 user group. And maintaining these 40 user group will be a nightmare because users come and go, and we don't know whether they are in this group or should not be in this group. And there are 40 user group, it could be a mess, right? So therefore, the goal is to simplify and integrate Tableau access security and with the college's access control table. So can we do that? Yes, the answer is yes. But the solution is not as simple as a one-click solution. But with a few practice, they do get easier and easier. You can do copy and paste the formula. Later, I'll show you the formula. And you can do create a template workbook, and you can always use that template to have the basic formula function that you need. Then start from the template to create your visualization. And one of the solutions I propose may be counterintuitive because it gives permissions to everybody. And this sounds insane, but let's see. So we are doing a demo. We'll look at the Tableau solution and we'll look at the alternatives. The solution number one is a server user filter. The idea is to set out a server user filter that map the user to the data. So we use the server user and we're repeating the mapping process to get user to the to map the user to their what they should see. Then we put this user filter to the filter shelf.
Did you get him? Okay.
So we'll see a demo here. So let's see the server filter here. Server user filter is here. You click server, create user filter, and you select a category, say report category. Then it will bring up the dialog box. You enter the user you want to find to map the data. So if you find a user and you map into the category, for example, like this. Because I already have one created, so I will cancel this one. So let's look at this one. You can, it's in the set area, you can find that one. You can edit sets. So this one is I previously created. So you can see I assign myself to have HR category, and Dave can have a budget category. Christina have facility category. So this is what category they can see. And you can assign multiple to them if you want. But let's just do simple one. So here you can see that I only see the HR category, and there are 3 records there, right? But how can I make it more limited? Only Sinji Yang can see Sinji Yang's records. We can create one more filter here, and we limit Sinji Yang can see Sinji Yang's record here. And we put this one into the filter shelf. So see, voila, Sinji only see his own record only. Okay. Oops, wrong one. So we have a note for the solution number one. For the solution number one, the user ID needs not live in the data set because the user ID is retrieved from the Tableau server. But as I just showed you, for you to do the user row level filtering, you need a user ID in your data set so you can filter the data to the row level for the user. And the filter timing is at the worksheet. It's not on the entire workbook. So if you have multiple worksheets, then you have to go through this process for each worksheet. And the concern is tedious manual mapping. You you have to map the data for each user. It's very high maintenance effort involved. And can you do multiple filter? Yes, you can do multiple filter, and you will have more mapping work, and you will have more maintenance. So let's continue look at solution number 2. Solution number 2 is dynamic filter of user in the filter shelf. The idea is using the username function in Tableau to create a dynamic user-based filter. So you create a calculated field. Calculated field is a Boolean type, and you give it a name, say it's me, and you put in a formula here. Username equal to unique name. Unique name is the user ID used at the University of Michigan. So you use this one for your own college user ID field here. So this formula will help you filter the report for the user. Then you drag and drop this calculated field into the filter shelf, okay, and select the true value. So this solution is pretty easy to set up. So let's look at the demonstration. Demonstration here. The demonstration for the solution number 2. Here, you set up the formula here, the calculate field. So you can see that. That's the formula you need. Username equal to unique name. And you put this calculate field in the filter here. If you don't put it there, you can see multiple record there, right? You will see the other people's data there. But if you put this filter there and select true, then you will create a filter for the user here. So that's our solution number 2, and let's look at the north for solution number 2. User information must live in a data set or by table join. So the data set need to contain a user's ID there. Otherwise, you cannot create a calculate field to filter the data. And the filter timing is at a worksheet. So it means you have multiple worksheets, then you have to do this process for each worksheet. The concern is that data must have a user information. Therefore, you often need to join a table to get a user ID, right? So you will causing the data blow up, causing a lot of duplicates, repeating record. You have the same set of data for Mary and same set of data for John. So you create kind of, if they both see same kind of data set, so you create this kind of duplicates by joining a user access control to your major data sets. So this is a big issue for the solution number 2. And you can do multiple filter, but I don't see any reason you need to do that. And let's look at solution number 3 is a data source filter of users. The ideal is using the same username function to create a user-based filter, but put it into the data source, okay? Put into the data source. So we have same calculated field is me, same formula. Then we add the filter to the data source, okay? And let's see the demonstration. Solution number 3. And here, you need to edit your solution data source for this solution, right? So you do the data edit. We have it's me created here already. Edit data source, and you do the filter. You add filter, right? But I already edited, so I will just do edit. So you can add is me here, right? But I'll show you another way to do it. You can directly add that formula here by putting the formula here. So you see it here. You put that formula into the filters dialog box. There's alternative to do that, or you can add the is me here, and then you don't need this line here. So you do the filter in the data. So you see the data you're going to bring into your report is a limited set, and it's for Sinji Yang only, right? You don't see the other users' data here because this is filter for Sinji Yang only. And you can impersonate the other user here. So you can see, I want to see Dave's data set, how will it look like? So when you design your report, you can impersonate people's here. Oops. So you see the data set change to the other users, right? Because we impersonate the users. So let's go back to Sinji Yang to reset. So now you change back to Sinji Yang. So this is data set is for Sinji Yang. It's eyes only. And let's look at the notes for solution number 3. The user information must live in the data set, right? As we demonstrate, you need to filter the user in the data set. So the user's ID must in the data set. And the filter timing is at the data source before it bring into the Tableau report worksheet. And because the data source is filtered and it applied to all the worksheets that using this data source, right? And since data must have the user access information ID, and therefore it create a data blow up by join a table in order to get a user ID. But by adding the data filter, the data blow up problem is resolved. So it means if you use this solution, you have a small data footprint. And small data footprint, small data size will increase your report rendering speed and performance. So it's a good solution to use. And you can have multiple filter by adding more, select more option in the data filter. And let's look at solution number 4 is a dynamic filter with data blending. And as we talked about, there's a data blow up problem when we join the user ID into our primary data set. So the idea is to avoid the data blow up problem by doing a data blending. So data blending is kind of join the table join the table inside the Tableau. So it's kind of virtually join the table together. So the size of the data will be small. So this solution, you need a primary data source, say budget data, and your secondary data source is users, and it has a user ID. And you need to have the same blending key in two data sets in order to do the data blending. And you edit the data relationship in the data and edit relationship. And you need to create one calculate field, say it's value user, and with this formula, If username equal to unique name, then true, else false. And this formula is different from our previous one because the previous one is Boolean data type and it won't work for this solution. Then you put this calculate field in the filter shelf, and it will do the filtering for you. So you see we have two data sets we need to play with here. Let's see the demonstration. Solution number 4, dynamic filter and the data blending. We have two data sets here. This is your budget data, right? And this is user data. And you do the data edit relationship, and your primary data is your budget data, and your secondary data is for user data here. And you have two blending key here, is department ID, so you put them together by join this ID together, and OK. So you get this data filtered. If you don't have this, if you break the relationship, the join, the blending, you break it. So this is broken now. So you see the other data that should be filtered out. So you join this one, you blend in two data sets together, so it do the filtering for you. And if you remove its value user, you see the other data set that's not what you want, so you need to put this back here to do the filtering. And you need the true type only. Now go back to the filtering for the data set that you want to display to the user. And let's see the notes for solution number 4. The purpose is to avoid data blow up, right? So we want to keep the data set size as small as possible. So we try to do data blending instead of table join. And the user information live in a separate data set as we just demonstrated. The filter timing is at the worksheet, so you know what this means by now. It means you need to do this process for each worksheet that you want to achieve the effect. And the concern is you must need a blending keys, okay? If you don't have blending key, you need to create one. And you cannot use calculate field as a blending key. And one of the concerns for this solution is we will probably run into the problem called mixing aggregation and non-aggregation problem. Because you have two data sets, one data set is kind of automatically aggregated by the Tableau. And the other data set, your primary data set, is not aggregated. So if you create a calculate field using both data set variables from both data sets, you will run into this problem. So you need to try to aggregate all of the field variable name from both data sets, so to make it work. And you can use multiple, you can have multiple filter. And let's see our solution number 5. Solution number 5 is using JavaScript API and hidden parameter. And I say this solution is a lifesaver because it will help us to resolve many problems we talked about before. And you may have questioned why we need to use a hidden parameter. Because using the parameter, then we can insert that parameter into our Tableau data query. So the first step is you create a parameter, a single value stream data type. Let's call it p-user. And let's set its default value to nobody. But when you start designing your visualization, if you put a p-user equal to nobody, you won't be able to see any data. So for the initially development, you put your own ID into the P users, okay? Then you create your data source and you have your data query and you insert your parameter P user into your data query. And this will help you filter the data for the user. And as you see, we filter the data in the data source. It means the data source have a small footprint, right? So small footprint is a good. We want it. The next step is you design your visualization, and you can try to show the parameter, the hidden parameter when you design. But at the end of your design, you need to remove this parameter. So when you publish this to the server, the user cannot see this parameter, okay? And the parameter, when you publish this, your report to the server, you need to set this P user parameter to nobody, so that nobody can see the report in the Tableau server. So when you publish, it's a blank dashboard, okay? Because it's a blank dashboard on the server, so you can grant permission to anybody, a huge group of users, because nobody can see anything at this time. So what does this mean? We don't need to create those 40 user group. We only need to maintain one user group. And only in the group we maintained, we give permission to, can see the report. Okay, at this stage, you publish a blank report to the Tableau server. So you have a question, how to make the report visible to the server, to the user. So now you need a JavaScript API. JavaScript API come to help you. So you embed your report dashboard into a dynamic web page. Okay, then using a JavaScript API to get the report from the server. And at the JavaScript API query stream, you can attach the hidden parameter and with a correct user P value to the report, to the API. Then the JavaScript API will get the Tableau report for you. And here is a small piece of the JavaScript and the PHP code to how to make this work. So in the JavaScript, the JavaScript API, you see this one. You create a variable called P user, and you using PHP to dynamically put a remote user, the login user, into the P user, give the P user the login user's valid ID. And this URL is the JavaScript API. It will point into your Tableau server, right? And your workbook name, your dashboard name, and a bunch of the setting. Okay, here you can just copy and paste here, and you attach your hidden variable here, and the P user equal to P user. This blue color P user is the login user's name here, okay? And it's dynamically created. Then the JavaScript API will get the report for this user, and this user is a valid user, will see the data. So we assume this P user has Sinji here, and the Tableau server will get the data for Sinji, and this Sinji, this value will replace the server's P user value, nobody will be replaced. So let's see the demo here. So here we have the P user set up. So when you design it, you set it to your own name. But when you finish design, you set it to nobody or whatever invalid ID. So if you do this, your report disappeared, right? You freak out. Where's my data, right? But don't worry, because we set the P user to nobody, right? So when design, you can always put your name there, and you will see the data. But when you publish, make sure you publish a blank report to the Tableau server. And we have a demo site here. You can see here, when user log in, they get their own data, right? It refreshed. So JavaScript here, if I change to nobody, I have this dynamic web page here, and this JavaScript API here. JavaScript API here to retrieve the report. This JavaScript API retrieve the report from the Tableau server. So I just changed the user to the nobody here. So we refresh this report, and nobody will see nothing here, right? That's what we want. Nobody cannot see anything. We only need a valid user can see something, right? Save. So a valid user login, and the P user value is dynamically assigned with their valid ID, so they can see their data here. And let's see the notes for solution number 5. Solution number 5 say the user data can either live with the primary data source or blend in from a secondary source. So this means freedom and flexibility to us, right? And the filter timing is at the data source. If the filter is at the data source, the data footprint is small, the data size is small. Or the filter can be at a worksheet. So you're using the data blending to include the user's information. So you can do the filter at a worksheet too. So this method, this solution has very flexibility. The concern is you need a dynamic web page. You need to write some JavaScript, and you need to run it on a secure server. And a secure server should not be an issue. For most universities and colleges, the internal website, most of them are on a secure site, right? So this should not be a problem. So you probably need to learn about JavaScript, but it's not difficult to learn. We have sample web page, and you can follow. And you may consider to secure the parameter passed through the JavaScript API. You can try to obscure the parameter name or the parameter value. You're using the JavaScript to kind of using some misleading name. Then you also using the same name in your Tableau parameter, okay? The name in the JavaScript should be the same as the parameter name in the Tableau. And you can obscure the value in JavaScript, then restore the value in the Tableau calculate field. Okay? Oops. If the value is a text value like Sinji, you can do some kind of permutation in a kind of secret order and plus some character here. So Sinji become, after the permutation will change, become Nisajiya. It sounds like a Chinese expression say, do you kill a chicken? When you sing in high notes and out of tune, then your friend will say, Nisajiya. And if the value is a number, then you can do a mathematical transformation, right? You can do a natural log to convert it to some kind of number. And when you need to convert it back, you do the exponential, right? And you can get the same number. And it's good that you add some secret number after you convert it or subtract it when you restore it. And this step you must do, okay? Secure the parameter. You must perform this. Check your error parameter in the Tableau. So because it's possible that people can hack your report. So you must double check your error parameter by using this formula. P user equal to username. The username has a very login username, right? But P user can be any value that pass through the JavaScript API. And I can do a demo for you. So here we see that we have Sinji's report here for Sinji and Sinji login and Sinji see the report. But what if Sinji want to hack the report? He changed the P user value to something. He want to hack the report. So now he want to see Dave's report. So he changed his name to the other name. So he successfully hacked the report and see DCP, the other user's report, right? It's because we do not check the error parameter in the Tableau. So you must check the error parameter here in the dashboard in your Tableau to prevent people hacking your report. So this is the step I highly recommend you need to do. And here come with a conclusion. We have 5 solutions presented here. The skill level required for the first solution is low. Second one, dynamic filter in future shape is low. So you just do click and drop and click here. You set up what you need. For the solution number 3, the filter in the data source, you need a little bit higher skill, probably do some data query. And solution number 4, because you need to blend 2 data sets together, so it requires a little bit skill about Tableau. And solution number 5 will need you to do the JavaScript dynamic web page. So it needs a little bit skill level, but no fear, we have sample code right here. We have sample code for you to follow, so it's very easy, as I show you. And the maintenance speaking, solution number 1 is very high. Solution number 2 is about average because you have multiple users to maintain. Solution number 3 is same as number 2. Solution number 4, maintenance effort is low. If you have one user group to maintain, it's low. But if you have multiple user group, you probably don't need that many because the data blending can help you filter the user, so you don't need to maintain so many user group. And solution number 5 has very low maintenance effort. Security speaking, solution number 1 and number 2 is the basic Tableau security, and solution number 3 and 4 has good security because it can filter out the data, so user won't have the full data set if they try to download the data. And security number 5 is very good security if you perform the error checking, double checking, as I just mentioned. Data set integration, number 1 is bad, number 2 is low, number 3 is not good either, and number 4 is good because you have 2 data sets. You can do data blending, so the user information don't need to live in the primary data set. And number 5 is very good as my point of view. And data footprint speaking, solution number 4 is average. Number 2 is very huge because it blows up the data. Number 3 is small because we will do data filtering at the data set, data source. Number 4 is data size is average plus because there's 2 data sets there. Number 5 is very good because we filter the data at the data source. So let's conclude our presentation. So if you have any question, you can let me know.
Hello, this is Yin. Thank you very much, Sinji, for your presentation. And because of all the background noises, if you have any questions for Sinji, please write it down in the chat box. He's monitoring your question over there. Thank you very much.
Hello. I have a presentation all upload to the AIR website, the conference website. So when the conference started, you should be able to download all the material, the sample code, the sample web page, so you can just follow it. And you can ask me any question anytime. Or I guess it's lunch time. If you don't have the other question, then we will conclude this presentation, and thank you for your coming. And if you have any question, just feel free to attend my session again at the AIR conference or send me the email. Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.